You're looking for a new house? You want it to be beautiful? Welcome to Flipper's Paradise, Las Vegas. Hey everybody, I'm going to talk today about something everyone wants to know about, finding that gorgeous, pretty house here in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas and Henderson. I'm your real estate guru, Eric Hudson, and we're going to talk about today, flipped houses. So you're looking for a house. Everyone's looking for that pretty house. And you can find a new house, build a new house, and some guys look for what's known as a flipped house. So what's a flipped house? So that's where you take a house, sometimes not a pretty house, and you flip it. And so we got these investors out there, and what they do is they go and find what we call the ugly house. And then they hopefully turn it into the pretty house that you may want to buy. And they do this for, of course, profit. Nothing wrong with that. And what you may get is a beautiful house. Wow. What you may also get is lipstick on a pig. So today we're going to go through everything that's going on with flipped houses, how they get the flipped houses, and should you even consider buying that flipped house. First of all, where do they get the flipped houses? They may just go to the MLS and find a house that's there, may not be so pretty, that they can get some profit out of. That's an easy prospect. They just go through and look for houses. Another thing they'll do is they'll use virtual assistants in countries like the Philippines, and they'll just go to the MLS and they'll just write blind offers, lowball offers as you'll call them. So sometimes for you home sellers, when you get those lowball offers, they didn't even look at your house, they didn't think about your house. They just said, okay, your house is in this neighborhood. I know you're wanting $250 for it. That's where that $180,000 offer came from. They just have somebody just doing them all day long, throwing these offers at everyone. 70%, 60% of whatever they're asking, we're doing. It's just a formula. They do it all day long, every day, 3 times on Sunday. Some people bite. You do it long enough, it works. If those of you who are in Las Vegas, you get those calls with that accent. Hello, we are working for investors and we are looking to buy properties. Have you considered selling a property? How many of you gotten that text lately? They've gotten sophisticated. The text is from a mass texting program. And they have their virtual assistants in the Philippines doing it. That's why if you respond, there's a lag time, because they're like, oh, okay, now I got to get somebody on here who can actually answer the question. Maybe they'll answer once or twice. Then they got to get their person who's actually trying to buy your house. They're just texting. Would you be interested in a cash offer for your home? Of course, we know the cash offer is, 70% of what it's worth. That is a flipper. You also have the iBuyers. They're kind of like flippers. The iBuyers we're talking about, Zillow here in Las Vegas buys houses. Open Door, Offer Pad, companies like that. There's a lot of them. That's how they make money. So what do? They buy the house. Oh, I forgot some others. Probate. So when someone passes, usually when they have relatives who are out of state, who can't take care of the property, they contact them. Divorces, where the house is not in great shape. They're beating the pavement looking for things. They'll war drive. They drive around. They look for houses that are boarded up. Then they go to the county. They find out who the owner is. Maybe it's abandoned property. Somebody who's owns the house who's in New York. They do everything they can to find a property that they can extract profit from. So let's say now they have the property. So they go in, they look at it, see what they can do to get it sellable. So now they're going to try to figure out what they can do to extract the most profit out of it for the least amount of money. So this is where they go in and start, look at the materials they have to buy and everything. Some of the best flippers, if you look at their houses, it's the same stuff over and over, the same flooring over and over, the same kitchen cabinets. Everything's the same over and over because they bought it in bulk, lowering their price. Nothing wrong with that. Some of the good flippers will do that purely because it just lowers their price and they're delivering what they see is going to sell. I mean, this is not HGTV where they're choosing, like what's going to be best here and best here. They're choosing what's going to sell best, sell the fastest, make them the most profit. Again, nothing wrong with that. They're just looking for profit. They're not looking to create the best home for you. They're looking for profit. Nothing wrong with that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about saving you money, getting into the best home. So now that they have done this, there are multiple ways. They can use a contractor. Some are doing this themselves. A lot of these flippers are contractors. Some of them are using general contractors, and some of them are doing it at night. That's where you have a problem. Fly by night. This is somebody who wants to make a little money flipping. Here's the problem with that. Did you know you have to have a general contractor's license to do a bunch of stuff? Fly by night ain't got one. Oh. Even if fly by night did the flip and did the work nights and weekends, you bought the house. County finds out, you may still be responsible. That's what we're going to be talking about today, okay? So, tip number 1, find out who did the flip. Find out if they had the general contractor's license. Who did the flip? Find out if there was a flip. First thing to do, if you're working with your real estate professional, when was the last time that house was sold? It may not be on the MLS. If you go into a house and as you're looking around, it's all beautiful. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's so gorgeous. And then the neighbors got weeds all the way up to here. And there's a crack in the middle of their house, hole in the roof. There's a good chance the house has been flipped. So first thing you need to do is, if you're working with a real estate professional, find out when the last time that house was sold. You can do that through the tax records. Even if they didn't go through the MLS, it's in the tax records. Check those tax records. Big thing, if you're using an FHA loan, there is a 90-day close to offer range. So when they closed on that last deal, there's 90 days before you can make an offer on that home for an FHA loan. Be very careful on that. Sometimes these flippers who are trying to do it themselves for sell by owner don't realize that. And then sometimes the lender's not thinking about it. And you kind of end up in a little bit with some issues. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It doesn't apply to conventional loans or VA loans, but it does apply to FHA. And a lot of the neighborhoods where a lot of flipping activity happens are neighborhoods that are flush with FHA loans. So be careful with that. Next thing you need to look for is, did they have that general contractor's license we talked about? So, was it flipped? For all we know, the last owner went, my house is not looking great. I want to get the most money for it. Maybe I can do some stuff and get it fixed up and then sell it. Or maybe they fixed it up a year or two ago, because on certain loans, You can fix up the house and sell it within a year. People may not realize this. You can buy a house with an FHA loan and use what's known as a 203K loan and actually fix up a house. It can be an absolute pile of trash and you can make it into a treasure. And the after fix up value, I don't know if that's a good way to put it, can be a lot more than you paid for it. Didn't think about that. A lot of people don't do it. And you got to find a lender who can do the 203K loan. And there's actually two types of loans. There's the full 203K loan and there's a 203K streamline. The 203K streamline allows you to do the work yourself. Anything that does not require a general contractor. So you can go into a trashed out home, as long as it's not structural and require a general contractor, you can do it yourself. Which means you got a home that doesn't have appliances, doesn't have flooring, needs paint jobs and stuff like that. You can get for a huge discount. You can get an FHA loan with a 203K streamline, put $35,000 in it. You may be able to get it $100,000 off. Keep that in mind. Keep it in mind if your real estate agent doesn't know that. Think about it. So you may be able to get a bargain there, especially if you find something like a probate or something like that, or your war drive, you see that house in the neighborhood that's all boarded up you've been looking at in a nice neighborhood. If you can find the owner, good way to find some cheap property. Get it before the flippers do. Put that savings in your pocket. And sometimes people have done that and they've flipped their own homes. They lived in it for a year or two. It still looks good. So it may not be a true flip. Just make sure that if they've done structural work, they got those permits. So make sure permits are pulled. So that's another big thing. Make sure that lipstick is not on that pig and you're not going to end up with issues later. Some of these flippers in town, I'm not going to mention names. There are some major flippers in town. They flip 2, 3, 4 homes a month. Massive numbers of flips. When I see a client who wants to buy one of their homes, I got to kind of put a bug in their ear to run, because there's going to be problems. They put all of Revlon and L'Oreal on that pig. Everything underneath that floor is rotten. Trust me. When you're walking across the floor of a flipped house, walk across the floor. Close your eyes and start feeling it. Is the floor moving? The floor really shouldn't move, especially on a house where they got a new floor in there, because they should have fixed it. That should be your first clue. First clue. When you open the cabinets under the sink, put your head down there. See what's under there. That's a clue. Did they fix underneath the sink? Is there still, water damage? AK, they figured you wouldn't put your head down there. Now, in houses built in the 60s and 70s, remember popcorn ceilings? That used to be the cool thing. It's not so cool anymore. Notice that they're not so cool anymore? This is my number one clue to a flipper who just don't care and they cut corners. Look up. If you see popcorn ceilings in a flipped house that's got all kinds of modern stuff in it and stainless steel appliances and everything else, look deep. See if you see some lipstick, okay? Because you're probably going to find lipstick. You're probably going to find places where if you were to pull a little bit something back, you're going to find rotten wood.
Oh, no!
When you get a good inspector, one who really digs deep, you're going to find that they put a new roof on top of rotten wood. There's a lot of stuff these guys do. You got to protect yourself. And here's the final thought. Flipped houses are many times difficult to price. And because the home flippers, they usually try to flip into price ranges that are the most popular. Right now, anything under $300,000, that's the popular price range here in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas and Henderson. So in that price range, when they flip a house, the average price in that neighborhood may be $250,000. Those houses are not flipped. They're normal houses. Well, this house now may have stainless steel appliances, new flooring, they've painted. So how do you compare that against every other house that hasn't done that? And this may be the first flipped house in the neighborhood. So you may start off having to overprice when you put your offer in. Now the flipper, I guarantee you, no matter what, is going to try to overprice that house. If the average house, if they bought it for $190,000 and the average house is $250,000 in the neighborhood, they're going to list it for $300,000. Now, maybe when it's all said and done, they sell it for $280,000. What is it going to appraise for? Now, they're going to always pretend that they put $50,000 into the house. Here's a little clue for you. Average flipper in this town, according to how they did it, will put 15 to 30 into that house. Okay? Don't let them make you believe they put 50, 60,000 into that. When they put down on MLS 100,000 in upgrades, that's 100,000 that you and maybe me would pay. They're not paying that, okay? That granite countertop that you may pay $3,000 for, they paid $500 for, okay? Just want you to know that. So you have a clue and you're educated on what's going on here in this market. They're not paying the same for labor. Something that you may pay $1,500 to get installed, they may pay $500 to get installed. They're probably paying less if they didn't install it themselves. So someone who says they put $100,000 into a house may have put 30. In reality, they may have put 15. Just giving you the clue. So when they claim they're breaking even or losing money, if they're breaking even or losing money, it's because of what's known as hard money, because they took out a loan to buy the house and they took out a loan to do the flip. Now, they didn't take out the loan from a bank. They took out the loan from what's known as a hard money lender. And it has high interest rates. That's where they're losing money at, because they may be losing $2,500, $3,000 a month, and they held the house for 3-4 months. They may be out $15,000 just for that. Okay? That's where their loss is, not in actually flipping the house. Don't take the okie doke on that, okay? So if you like the stuff that you're hearing today, go ahead and subscribe. I got more stuff like this coming out. Drop the real truth of what's going on in the housing market, not only nationwide, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. Peace out, y'all.